Welcome to the Profits and Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women entrepreneurs and professionals to achieve their personal success stories that include joy, fulfillment, and balance. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease, be successful, and enjoy your life. My happy place is spending as much time in my PJs as humanly possible. And I want to help other women find their happy space while running profitable businesses or having a successful career. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits and Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danni D, always helping you to redefine success, reimagine, re-envision it in a way that does not involve grind, right? That we can replace that grind with joy, fulfillment, alignment, right? Okay, so excuse me. If you follow me on social media, either if you follow workflow or if you follow me personally, you know that the other day I had a flat tire and it was, one of those things that great, I'm very grateful that I realized it before I left the house and didn't end up stuck somewhere, right, with this flat. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about, because thinking about it and thinking about, in that gratefulness, thinking about how the day actually played out and the fact that um there are signs and messages sprinkled in our day to day that sometimes we're paying very close attention to and sometimes we're not, or sometimes there are little hints or clues that are preparing us for something that's going to happen. And the thing that keeps coming to my mind is if you are a fan of, or if you just even seen The Color Purple, there's that one scene, where um Suge ends up in the church and it's saying God's trying to tell you something, right? And that, when I play back the day, God was trying to tell me something and I didn't fully get the message at the onset. But had I not been listening for the message, I probably would have missed it, right? So I'll play out the day and I'll just kind of like let you see what I mean by that. So I woke up that morning and went to went with JP and Noah to drop them off at work because I needed to keep the car to go to these two meetings that I had. And when we got in the car, the message came up that the pressure in one of the tires was low. And it just said it was like not super low, but it was lower than the other ones, enough for the alert to come up, right? And so I saw the alert, and that's not like my thing. I don't know what it all means, but I knew it meant something, right? And so I brought it up to JP's attention. I'm like, babe, you see that it says, this or whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, it should be fine. It just probably needs a little air in that one tire. And I was like, okay. Well, at first he just said, oh, yeah, it should be fine. And I'm like, I need to drive in this car today. Like, you seem to be like a little, under concerned about this. And so he was like, no, it just means that it's a little low. When, we get to work, I'll add a little air to it before I go into work. So he did that. He added the air to it. And it was something just outside of that in my gut that was kind of like nervous about. I'm like, okay, I don't want to like end up stuck somewhere, basically. And I know how to change a tire, but I don't want to change a tire, right? So I, left, I went home and I was, I normally go, this was a Tuesday. I normally go to coffee shop on Tuesday and spend a day at a coffee shop. But I was like, if I'm gonna go to these meetings, I'm just gonna go home, eat something, kind of, ease into my day and then attend these meetings. So I go home, which was another, out of the norm, because again, I normally would stay out. And then I get home, and for whatever reason, I just felt like really tired. And I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to make this first meeting. I might just rest. And also, I don't like being rushed. In this phase of my life, I try to schedule my dates so that I'm not rushed. And these two meetings were like back to back. And so I would have to rush from one to the other. So I kind of convinced myself, like, I'm like, I really don't feel like doing that right now. I'm not, I'm kind of tired to let me just go ahead and bow out of the first meeting and just get ready for the second meeting, right? So that was another signal, that, even though I wanted to be there, that maybe that wasn't the best idea. Fast forward further, it's time to get ready for the second meeting, and I'm still feeling like sluggish, and it's like weird. I'm like, I slept good last night. I just, rested. Why am I feeling like this? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm pushing myself to get up. So I get up, get dressed, and then I realize I'm like, I spent my last like cash the other day, and I need to pay for parking. So I'm like, I gotta stop somewhere and get cash on the way. And, at this point, I'm like, this is like feeling like a lot. And so I go and I get ready. In my mind, I'm like, okay, there's, a little buffer before the program starts. So I still have time to go get cash and get there maybe like mid networking time, right? And so I'm ready. I'm walking out the door. I got all my stuff and I turn on the car. And the pressure in the tire is reading the same number it was reading that morning, which was again slightly below what the other three tires were reading. And so I'm like, well, that means that it lost air from this morning because I haven't done anything else, except I haven't done anything except driven home. And so I'm like, that's weird, but still I get in the car. I've turned it on now. So I'm backing out of the driveway and I'm, you know, about to call JP just to like check in with him. Like, is this still okay? Is this just like some weirdness with the gauge or whatever? Because he, had said something about checking it again once the car had been sitting for a while. And I turn out of reverse, right? And then back into drive. And the screen pops up, and now all of a sudden it's saying 8 for the tire pressure, and the other ones are like 36, right? And so I immediately make a U-turn, pull back into the driveway. Call him, let him know what's going on, and go inside, pull those clothes off, and get comfortable, and just start, working on some work in my PJs. I'm saying that to say that, this whole story that, may not sound like that big of a deal, right? And it wasn't a big deal. It just was what happened. But I'm not a morning person. So I normally am not really paying attention to a lot in the morning. I'm just there. So for me to one, notice the, alert about the tire. So that was on my conscious mind, right? So had I not noticed that, and the other signs that were like, those little gut feelings throughout the day, I probably would have ended up stranded somewhere or ended up in a different situation. And I'm saying that to say, listen, listen to when God is giving you those little messages. And they're not always loud and clear. There are sometimes, it's a little, whisper, a murmur, but listen and understand that, they may not always make sense to you in the moment either, right? So you may not immediately say, oh, this means this. But because you're listening, you hear the other clues. Because honestly, I would not have paid attention because I didn't even look, it was out of my mind because it was, had been fixed, right? I didn't even think about looking at the tire when I went to get in the car. I was just thinking about where I was going, like what my plan was, right? Like they say, we plan, God laughs. Sometimes God got a different plan than the plan that you have set up. And you may not understand it. It may not, make sense to you for, a long time sometimes. Sometimes, there's been many times that I've gone down a whole path and it's not till years later that I understand why I had to do that thing, like why that thing made sense in my journey, right? But listen to the little things that God puts on your heart. Listen to those gut feelings, sometimes that you can't quite explain, but they're telling you that something is really wrong or that something is really right. It can go in either direction, but always be listening and don't allow your excitement or, if you're a believer, your will to supersede God's, right? Because there were multiple times that I could have pushed back. And I have at times in life pushed back when I knew that my gut was saying to pause, right? So understand that God will send you messages sometimes, or God will redirect you sometimes intentionally. God will do that. And, but sometimes we miss the message because we're not listening. And a lot of times we miss it because, if we're being honest, we're being stubborn. We're being stubborn. We want something to look and feel a certain way. And that's not how it works. It, just because God may have promised you that it will happen, the how is entirely his. And so it may not work in that way. It may not come the way that you expect or when you expect, but yield. Learn to yield. Learn how to yield more. Learn how to listen more. Learn how to be good with things that don't seem to be going your way, right? Because, I was excited about, both of these meetings were interesting to me. I was excited about them. But that wasn't the plan, right? That just wasn't the plan. And I may not know for a very long time why that wasn't the plan. And part of me knows a little bit why that wasn't the plan because of what happened in lieu of that, right? So it just wasn't in the cards in that moment. And that's okay. But again, had I not had those little breadcrumbs to lead me to pay attention more, then I might have been in a totally different situation because, again, like I said, when I got in the car, it said, a higher number. And even though it was, of concern, it wasn't like, pause, don't pass go. It wasn't that. But because I had already been primed to pay attention, I realized, you know what? This is a problem. This is a problem. Let me turn right on back around and understand that apparently today I'm not supposed to move. I'm not supposed to move in that way, in that direction, right? So I want you to think about in your life when there are times where you are ignoring those messages, where you are being stubborn. I'm a Capricorn. And that is one of the top traits, right? When you are being stubborn, when you are taking the wheel, right? We always want to, we say we give it to God, but then we take it back. And, I've had a little bit of that this week where I'm just like, you know what? No, you are overperforming in this. You need to fall back and wait for God's guidance. But again, listen for those messages. Trust your gut. Know that if it's promised, it will be yours. But know that it does require you to yield. It requires you to yield because when we lean on our own understanding, we end up in some situations sometimes that are not meant for us because we did not yield to what was meant for us, right? So, yeah. So that was my experience for the week. And I think I did need that. I needed to be still in that moment, right? Um yeah, I think I needed to be still because it helped me to focus on some other things that I've been needing to make time for. So the time was made for me, right? And, I got a bunch of other stories of similar nature where, God has set me down and said, nope, this is where I need you to be focused. So I want you to keep your ears peeled. And I know not everybody that listens is a believer, whether it's the universe, whatever it is, just pay attention. I just need you to start paying attention. Um, I think that's all I have for you today as far as what's going on in the workflow world and universe. So this Saturday, June 27th, I will be doing a book signing at Barnes& and Noble for the Capable Confident You book. So if you are, in the local area, I will be at the Barnes& and Noble in Harahan between 1 and 3 on Saturday. I would love for you to come through and support. If you don't already have a copy of the book, you can get a copy of the book and I'll be there to sign it. If you do already have a copy of the book and you just want to support, you're more than welcome to come out and support. And I want y'all to, to they have, put the book on the bookshelves. I want y'all to sell it out so they can keep stocking it on the bookshelves, right? I want as many women as possible to get copies of this book and dig into it and walk confidently in their lives. So that's happening. That is, I think that's June. I'm trying to go by month so I don't get confused. July, I want to say 13th through 17th, I will be in Indianapolis at the Balloons and Colors um conference, and so I'll be there, and I'm going to be teaching on pricing and on boundaries. So, if you are a balloon artist, especially a balloon artist of color, I want you to, be there. Tickets are still available. Also, there's going to be a balloon build attached to that, as well as a gala that is going to be inside of that balloon build once we are completed. So that's going to be a ton of fun. In September, I will be, well, no, let's backtrack. In August, I said I was going in order. In August, I will be um doing a book signing for the I Don't Do It All book. That's going to be August 15th, and that's going to be at the Metairie Barnes& and Noble. So I don't want to confuse you. Just worry right now about the one on Saturday at the Harahan Barnes& and Nobles, 1 to 3. I'll have it in the show notes. Um, but yeah, so that's going to be August. September, I'm going to be doing the Inflate Your Income um, Summit, and that's going to be, well, the Inflate Your Income Conference. That is I'm doing that in conjunction with Sheila, Pauline, and Adrian. We did it last year. Tiffany came out and she taught pricing for profit. She's going to be back with us again this year. So we're excited about that. We actually have my words are escaping me. We have a launch party that is going to be on Monday, June 29th. So if you are interested in attending, but you have questions or anything of that sort, make sure that you show up for the launch party. I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Make sure you show up for that so that you can answer those questions, find out more about what Inflate Your Income is about. It is really focused on the business of balloons. We can make all the beautiful creations in the world, but we got to be able to sell them. We have to be able to structure our businesses in ways that they are sustainable and that they are income producing. So make sure that you are signed up for that launch party so that you can, ask all your questions, feel the energy of the group because, every time we're together, it's just something magical. So I want you to experience that as well. And I'm gonna stop there, right? I mean, there's some stuff in the works and I will share that as it comes up, but those are the main things going on right now in the workflow world. I'm gonna sign off and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with these. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. For more information about creating balance in your life, register for my upcoming calendar detox challenge at CoachDanniD.com. Don't forget to subscribe, join the community, and book a call to find the workflow program that best fits your needs.